Hello Kickstarters, I'm Jay Obernolte, President and founder of Farsight Studios. And we're here in our offices in beautiful Big Bear Lake, California. Farsight Studios is a developer of video games, and we've been doing that for over 20 years. We take classic pinball tables like these, and we bring them on to devices like this. This is our iPad version of the Pinball Arcade, which is our latest product. This product is on the PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360, it'll be on the Nintendo Wii U this fall. It's shipped for the iPhone, the iPad, Android phones and tablets, and the Macintosh. And in the next couple of months, we'll also be shipping it for the Nintendo 3DS and the PC. Farsight Studios has been creating video game versions of classic pinball tables for over 7 years. At this point, we have more experience at doing this than anyone else in the world. Digitizing these pinball tables is actually a very complicated process. What we do is we strip them all the way down to the bare wood playfield. We digitize each component and model them in 3 dimensions. We've also created ROM emulation technology that runs the actual code that controlled the original pinball table on your handheld device. It's really amazing technology. What I like most about the work that we're doing is that we're preserving these classic pinball tables. I remember when I was a kid going to the arcade and playing these tables. My kids are never going to get to have that experience. These tables are just too old. There aren't very many of them. There are fewer each year. And they're so complicated and difficult to keep running. Each of these tables has literally miles of wire, hundreds of lights, hundreds of solenoids and moving parts. Here at Farsight, we've got someone whose full-time job is just maintaining the pinball tables in this room. So the chances that my children are ever going to be able to play these tables is nil. Now, pinball tables are also very expensive. They're not being made anymore, most of these classic tables. But if we can digitize these tables and bring them to modern devices, people will be able to enjoy them forever. So that's our goal. What I want to talk to you about today is a pinball table called the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone was created by Midway under the Bally license in the early 1990s. It is considered to be one of the greatest pinball tables of all time. In fact, right now, the Internet Pinball Machine Database ranks it #1 in user rankings of every pinball table ever created. It was designed by the legendary pinball designer Pat Lawler. He had just created the Addams family, and because of the great success commercially and critically that table enjoyed, Midway told him he could have complete creative license and do whatever he wanted with the Twilight Zone. And what he created is a masterpiece. The Twilight Zone is considered by many pinball experts to be the most complex pinball table of all time. We would love to bring the Twilight Zone pinball table to the Pinball Arcade, but we're having a problem, and that problem is licensing. As you can imagine, we have licenses from the original pinball table manufacturers to do modern recreations of these pinball table designs. The problem with licensed tables like the Twilight Zone is not only do we need a license from the manufacturer of the pinball table, we also need to get approval and license rights from all of the license holders of the other intellectual property in the table. For example, the original property on which the license was based, the television show that licensed the original property, any actors that appear on the playfield or on the backlash need to get a license to use their likenesses. If there's music playing when you play the table, you need a license for the composition and performance rights for that music. The list goes on and on. It's really daunting. In the case of the Twilight Zone, if you add up the cost of all the individual licenses and you figure out what you would have to charge to make money on selling a digital version of that table, it is just not commercially viable for us to do. So this is where you come in. If we can raise enough money to pay the licensing costs, we'll be able to bring the Twilight Zone pinball table, which is one of the greatest pinball tables of all time, onto the Pinball Arcade platform, which will preserve it for our children and future generations. Please join us.